to you today from Bangkok, live from BKK on a little work recon mission here. Thinking about moving here, so I'm going to do a recon of the scenes where I want to live, how I want to live over here. Chiang Mai's getting a bit stale for me. So here checking it out, but still doing this content every day, man. So forgive me, I don't have my setup, I don't have my printer, so I'm going to be reading a little bit off my computer here on how to be and why to be a boss player instead of the pretty boy playboy, okay? So this is grown man advice. I'm turning 36, right? If you're reading a lot of the men's blogs and stuff, a lot of good guys in their 30s, you know, guys in their 40s too, but a lot of it is 20-year-olds, and you know, it's about picking up girls and getting laid. And I'm not against that at all, okay? My best-selling products are about getting laid and picking up girls. Getting laid's fun. Picking up girls is fun, okay? But it comes down to priorities, and it comes down to what the rest of your life is going to look like. This applies to you if you're in your 30s or 40s as well, okay? It's being a boss player, not a playboy, right? So it's so much better to be a boss player, okay? I always wanted to be a boss player in the game of life. Since I was a kid, I always had a mission. And in my early 20s, that mission was trading, okay? And I made some good money, and I was successful in that. It just didn't last forever. And, you know, I was a college dropout, so I had to find something I could do where I could make money. And that was the only way that I found was sales, because I wasn't able to execute on a business level. I didn't have the execution skills. I also didn't have all the knowledge that I'm giving you guys on my side. If I'd had the stuff on my side, I would have done that straight up at 20 or 21 after you know, I couldn't make more money trading. And so I had to go into sales. I hated sales. I never wanted to be a salesman. It was the last job I wanted to do. But I was like, you know, I can't figure out how to get a business started, and I'm not going to sit around making 40 or 50 grand a year. I need to, like, what's going to get me to six figures? So I went into sales, and I didn't have a mission for a while. After trading ended for a good part of my 20s, I didn't have that extra mission. So my mission became getting girls, right? I was like, well, okay, I'm going to get really good at this. I was probably like a semi-natural before. You know, I had girls in high school, I had girls after, but I was never on that, you know, sort of higher level. And so I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get really good at getting girls, and it's going to be like my thing to look forward to at the end of the sales day. It's going to be like, you know, a lot of fun. And I did have a lot of fun for a while, okay? But I spent all my free time chasing girls, okay? And sometimes 4 girls a week, 5 girls a week. Some weeks that was new girls. It would be 2, 3, maybe 4 new girls. 4 or 5 girls a week that I was seeing. I mean, part of that's to do that I was 25 and I had, you know, 25-year-old sex drive. But like everything I do, it became an obsession. It became an addiction. It was my de facto mission at that point. So again, I never do anything normally. I do it obsessively, and I that's all I can think about. And so that's what that became. And major mistake. Major mistake. Okay, one of the biggest mistakes I made was that period of, I don't know, 3-4 years where I focused so much on getting girls, getting laid, having sex, you know, having fun with girls, going out, being the man about town, going to the right bars and the right clubs, and you know, wearing the suit and having, you know, that dude, right? The guy that sort of, you know, you've seen in TV shows and movies growing up, and you kind of want to be that guy. You know, I looked like I had a lot of money, but I mean, 100 grand a year in Toronto is not a whole lot of money, okay? Toronto, like any major city, is expensive, right? Most sales guys, even my friends now, are still selling, doing like 150 a year. They're paycheck to paycheck, or they're close to it. Or they'll save up money, but it's so they can drop 40 grand on a wedding. Or, you know, mortgage payment, or, you know, buying a house, and then they're paycheck to paycheck. So, I mean, that's the reality for a lot of guys, and I shudder to think the amount of money and time that I spent chasing girls that I could have been building a business, okay? I remember when I was, I think, 25 or 24, I'm 35 now. I was reading Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Work Week, about going to Thailand. Finally got there, okay? You know, but that was in my head for a long time. And, you know, doing that sort of, you know, online business thing. And there was like rudimentary drop shipping that you could do back then, but you had to learn C++. You had to learn code. So I was doing it with a friend, and he was super negative, and that took a lot of the wind out of my sails. And then I said, well, okay, I'm going to do it myself. So I spent like, you know, a couple weeks trying to learn C++ code, right? Terrible at it, right? I couldn't program a microwave, dude. But really, it was just a question of you know, I wasn't able to execute. I wasn't able to do what it takes. I mean, I should have just paid a programmer to do it, right? I had the money, but I didn't have that level of execution. I didn't have like, well, I could just go to Thailand and make this money last for a decade. Well, I, you know, continue to scale this business up. Did not have that. Also didn't have the resources you guys have. Now the whole game's laid out. I mean, if you want to, even in just my side alone, that game, building that service business is laid out. But I don't recommend a drop shipping course or a drop shipping product per se, but it's like, man, 10 years ago, I could have been drop shipping, or, you know, I could have had that online business, and just think of what that would be now. Okay. Could have gone into online poker. Just met a guy who's made a couple mils in online poker, but my uncle talked me out of it. My family talked me out of it because, you know, they were saying there were bots on the other side and all that. And I don't think you guys should be gamblers, okay? I did a video on murdering the gambling mentality, but I was really good at trading. You know, there are odds in poker. The guys who tend to be good at trading are, you know, going to be good at poker. And yeah, I mean, just the list goes on and on of things that I could have done. And like, you know, going back, I would have just built a service business, but I'm just putting that out there, like the time and the money I spent. If I just kept that attitude of boss player and I was like, well, trading didn't work, but I'm just going to become an executioner and just figure this business thing out and just sit here and be bored to death with code or just, you know, cold calling, you know, it would have been a game changer. But I didn't have the execution skills. I didn't have the balls to cold call back then because I hadn't been through that trial by fire corporate sales training that I eventually went through. And I mean, big mistake. Biggest mistake that I made with my life was not taking all that money I made in trading. And, you know, I was out of that by the time I think I was 23 or 24 maybe. I never would have had to work for someone, okay, ever. You know, trading was an independent contract job. I would have been free and clear. I would have had my own business at 23 or 24 with a lot of money saved. Massive mistake, dudes. So that's something to remember. And that's also your energetic prime. Okay, you can still have a lot of energy in your 30s and 40s, but you're not going to get back that 23-year-old energy where you can go all night and sleep for 3 hours and still be functional, right? It's a different ball game. So not to say that having an active player phase isn't useful and fun. It certainly is, but in moderation, man. You can do that a night or, you know, 1 or 2 nights a week with girls, right? But like, dude, I was at the club, you know, whatever, chasing girls down till 4 a.m. sometimes to take home a drunk girl and have condom sex and, you know, get 3 hours of sleep. And I was doing that every other night, or having her over from online or something like that, you know, exhausted. Just major mistakes, okay? Moderation's the key. All right. You know, if you haven't had that player phase yet and it's available to you, it's not available to everyone. You know, there are genetic limiting factors. You know, definitely get girls, you know, have fun, but like make sure the business is priority number one, because that was a dangerous identity. Like my identity had become the pretty boy, playboy, right? I'm the handsome guy who can get girls. Okay. Now keep in mind, I'm 35 now. I was a bit prettier back then. So, you know, it kind of felt like it fit. And I mean, the reality was I'd taken on that identity, and, you know, it was about how many girls I could get, how many girls liked me, until I woke up for the 1000th time exhausted, you know, because I'm ejaculating all the time. I'm going out all the time. I'm 2 hours outside the city in this girl's place, and I got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, or I got to be at, you know, I got to be at work at like 8 o'clock. So, I mean, it was a mess, okay? And until I woke up for that, you know, I'd done it enough times, I was like, I'm not happy at all, okay? I'm not a stud. I'm not a pretty boy, playboy. I'm a pretty bitch. That's what I am. I'm a bitch, okay? Because I'm taking orders from these, you know, the boys on the floor. We think we were cooler than you know, some of the higher ups, but like, dude, we're taking orders from those guys 50 hours a week. I exist to make those guys money. Literally, that's the bulk of my life is devoted to making those guys more money, doing a job I hate for products that I don't believe in, for a lot of the colleagues I didn't like. I mean, that was the reality of it. And if I'd kept it up, that would have been the legacy of my life. Okay, you know, oh, I was a salesman for 30 years doing something I hated. And, you know, that was a big revelation. It was like, I'm not cool, man. I'm not cool. I'm not a stud. I'm a corporate slave here. That's the reality of it. You know, you feel like a stud on the weekend, then Monday morning you're under those fluorescent lights taking orders, and you got to do your 100 calls a day. It's like, dude, I got to do whatever I can to get out of this. Okay, period.